Hello, welcome to Fun Fold Friday and welcome to my channel Making Crafts. Today we're going to create a fun fold card called a stepper card, and I'm going to be using 2 sheets of paper to create this card. I'm using some black cardstock as well as some white cardstock. So the black cardstock is going to actually be our card base, so we're going to put that in our paper trimmer. It's an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper. We're going to put it the 11 inch side at the top of our paper trimmer, and we're going to cut at 5.5. Then the other piece, we're going to bring it in and cut it at 3.5. So we have one piece that measures 5.5 by 8.5 and one piece that measures 3.5 by 8.5. So for our white cardstock, we're going to cut a piece that measures 3 3/8 by 4 1/8. And so then we're going to cut another piece that measures 3 1/4 by 4. And so this one, the bigger one is supposed to frame out the smaller one. So I'm just checking to make sure I got everything cut correctly because I'm just doing this math in my head. So sometimes when I do it on the fly like that in my head, I don't always get it correct. So I just check it before I move on. So for the next piece, we're going to cut it 1 3/4 by 1.5. And then we're going to cut another piece that measures 1 5/8 by 1 3/8. I typically don't like to use eighths, but for this one I had to. Now we need to cut a few more pieces, so the next one we're going to cut it 1 7/8 by 1 1/8. I first cut it at 1 1/4, you can see here, but I realize it's too large. So I come back and I'm going to cut it at 1 1/8 because I realize it's way too big to fit on the card. Well, not way too big, but still it won't fit the spot that it's got to go in. Okay, so then I'm going to cut another piece that measures 1 3/4 by 1. And so this one's a little bit too small for me to do in this paper trimmer, so I'm going to bring in my smaller paper trimmer just to cut it down to 1 inch. So it's time to score. So I'm going to take the 5.5 by 8.5 piece, put the 8.5 to the top of our scoreboard, and we're going to score at 1 1/4, at 2.5, and again at 5.5. So then we're going to score our other piece at 4 1/4. So for it, that's just really scoring it in half. So I'm just going to fold it in half. I do want to make sure that my edges line up, that everything is straight. Even though you score it, you have to be careful. Make sure that you get your sides straight, lined up before you press it down. It's a little harder to correct once you start pressing it down. So for the next piece, the first one that we scored, I'm just going to take the 5.5 inch score line and I'm just going to fold it backwards. This is the back of our card base. And then I'm going to take the 2.5 score line and fold upwards towards the front of our card base. And then this little flap here is going to be folded down. I'm just pressing everything down good. Okay, we're going to set these aside and we're going to work on the other pieces of paper now. So if you do not want to ink paper, you could just find some cardstock that you want to use for this one and just use those same measurements, the smaller measurements for each one, and then you could use the white still to frame out your pieces, but then the smaller pieces here, then you would want to use your printed cardstock. So then I'm just going to ink these. So I have a piece of copy paper that I'm going to put underneath them. And I've already been using this paper. You can see one side's already dirty, so I'm just going to do the clean side. I'm going to come in with some blue ink and some different blues and then a little black ink. But first I want to show you the dies that I'm using to create this card. So I'm using, this die set was from Inloveartshop, and it comes with 3 different nativity scenes. So I'm going to use this nativity scene here with the Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus and the star. And this video is not sponsored by them, but I do have a coupon code from them from where I did collabs before. If you want to look in my description for 25% off. I don't know if this one's even still in their shop. I ordered it last year. So here's the star that comes in that die set. So what I've done is I have traced around the star with the pencil, and then I cut it out leaving a little edge there because we want to use this to create some glow in our sky. We're going to create a nighttime sky with all of these inks. So I want to lay out the scene first so I can figure out where my star is going to go. And so I'm just laying everything out, and then I will put the star, I'm going to try to put it here in the center above Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. And so I think it'll go perfect right here. So I'm not going to glue this down or stick it down. I'm just going to hold it in place because I don't want like total harsh lines anyway. I just want to leave a little white here to leave a glow. Then I'm just going to come in with my inks. Now, I did create one of these. I don't always do a prototype. Sometimes I just make the card first time on camera. But I did create a prototype for this card, just testing it out. And for that one, I came in with a lighter blue. And so once I finished this one, I did regret not coming in with the lighter blue first. So it is a little different from the one before, but it does finally turn out pretty good. But just a little hint in case you're following along, you might want to use a lighter blue here. I should have used 3 different blues like I did before, but I just kind of got in a hurry and forgot the lighter one. So I'm just coming in with my blue, and so I'm really enjoying these Fun Fold Fridays. Let me know in the comments below if you are enjoying the Fun Fold Fridays, and if you haven't seen the other ones, I do have 2 more out, and I'm hoping to make this a series that I continue into the new year. So the first 2 videos were not Christmas cards. This is actually the first Christmas card I've done for this series, but I am hoping to continue this in the series, so let me know in the comments if you like it. And also, if you're liking this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe as well so that you'll be notified when I upload another video. And so hopefully I'll be back next Friday with another video. Right now we're going right up on Christmas, and I did not make any ahead, so I'm hoping that I have time to get a video out by next Friday. So we'll see. I have no idea what we're doing yet, so that'll be a surprise for you and for me. So when I get to it. So then I'm just, here you can see I'm coming in with a darker blue and just kind of blending it. But, you know, I'm not worrying about having it all smoothly blended. It doesn't have to be for this night sky. When you're working on it, you'll look at it and you'll think, this is never going to work. Or at least that's what I think. I always think, well, this is never going to work. And because it looks splotchy and it looks not blended. And I'm thinking, okay, this is an absolute mess. But trust me, trust the process. Just trust me. When you get done doing all the stuff we're going to do to it, it actually does turn out pretty good. So, and like I was talking about that glow, mine, for this one, the glow around the star did not turn out as pretty as it did on my first one. But I do come back. So check out my picture on Instagram because I do come back and soften it with some white ink, but I didn't do it in the video. It's after I cut off the camera, then I remembered I had some white ink, and I was like, okay, I can fix this little harshness of this glow. So, but you know, others in my household said they didn't see what I was talking about anyway, so it may just be where I made the card. So you can see here now, I'm coming in with the black around the edges. Just remember to leave your glow in the center there and leave a little bit of blue sky in the center. I think that helps all of this come together to look like a night sky. So we also had those little pieces that we set aside here. I'm going to do the same thing. I also want to show you, so I'm getting ahead of myself. So once I add the black, I do come back with the blue just to brighten it back up and to blend everything in. So now what I was saying was those smaller pieces, I'm going to do the same thing to them. I'm just going to ink all of those as well, just like I did this larger piece, except I'm not going to leave a glow to it. I'd actually forgot here to do the smaller pieces. I was getting ready to wet my paint, and then I realized I hadn't done the smaller ones. So I'm just going to come in with a little bit of blue in the center and then black around the edges. And I do ink the edges a little darker on these. But you want to be careful with these that you don't add too much ink. Since these are such small pieces, it is easy to over ink with the black. So once I have these inked up like I like them, then I'm just coming back, and you can see I have some dried acrylic paint here on my stamp block. I'm just adding some water to it, and then I'm going to add some splashes to make it look like stars in my night sky. But I do have the wrong brush here. I normally like to use a fan brush to do my splashes, but I couldn't find one, so this is what I'm using today. And it actually turned out just fine. So I think just about any brush can do splashes if you take your time and be very careful. I wanted to be sure that I didn't get big splotches on this. I really wanted small splashes on this to look like stars and not big globs on it. So that's why I'm trying to be really careful when I do that. And you can see I test it over the paint first before I come to my cardstock. So all of the pieces I'm doing the same. I'm just adding some little stars to them just to add a little bit. And you can see it's really coming together now, looking more like a night sky. It's not perfect yet. I think once we layer all the pieces on, that's when it really comes together. So now I'm just going to stamp Merry Christmas on this little square here, and I forgot the measurement of this square, but I told it to you earlier, so hopefully you've already cut it, or you can go back and see what the measurement is because I can't remember. But I'm just stamping Merry Christmas in some black ink, and this stamp came from a not too shabby stamp set from several years ago. So if they still have it in stock, I can link it if you're interested in it, but I'm doubting that that one's still in stock because it's been several years. Just as these die sets, I'm not sure, since it's been a year since I ordered them, I'm not sure that they will still be in stock either. But I'll try to link to everything if it is. I always try to link below to it. And if I have any coupon codes, I try to share those because I like to get a good deal. And so I like to share. If a company gives me coupon codes to share with you, I love to share those with you to get you a good deal as well. So now as I'm layering everything up, I think it's looking a lot better. And so there you can see the star, and I left the white space so it looks like the star is glowing. So I'm just going to add this to the piece of white cardstock that we cut out that's going to frame it out. And this is the 3 3/8 by 4 1/8 piece of white cardstock. And then the smaller pieces, we also have larger white cardstock to frame them out. But first I'm going to add this one to our card base. And you can see here I cut these at the 1/8. I normally don't like to do 1/8. I normally do 4ths and halves, but I cut it so that there was a little bit of frame of white and a little frame of black around it. I just felt like it needed 2 layers of colors around it, kind of to pull it all together. I didn't want it to look too dark with the black cardstock. And so then I'm just going to layer up these pieces as well. So now let's get our other card base piece, and this is our 5.5 by 8.5 piece that we've scored and folded. So now we're just going to add our card to the front of it. So I just want to add a little bit of glue on the inside here, and then I'm just going to line this up with the far left hand edge as well as the bottom edge. So I want to make sure that the left hand edge is lined up straight and the bottom edge is lined up straight. And then we're just going to flip it over and add some glue to the back of this flap. And we're going to glue that down, and we're just lining the edges up again as well to make sure everything is straight and lined up. Now for this one, I am going to add some white cardstock to the back of it so that I can write a note to the recipient. So I just had this piece of scrap laying to the side and it fit perfectly. But what you want to do is just cut some white cardstock, just measure that back piece and cut some white cardstock that's about 1/4 of an inch smaller, or it could even be a 1/2 inch smaller, whichever you prefer. And so now let's finish decorating the front and we'll have our card complete. So this piece here, the 3 3/8 by 4 1/8, it goes at the upper part of our stepper, and then the other piece goes right there at the bottom. And then here is our completed card. I really love how it turned out, and like I said, I wasn't too happy with that glow, so I do go back and kind of soften it a little bit. So I'll also show you the prototype that I made, the one I made ahead, and actually it was going to be the one for the video, but I didn't like the measurements. As you can see, there's a little bit more wider white space around the image piece, and so that bothered me a little bit. But now that I look back, once I made the second one, it's not so bad. So I probably will just give out both cards. But I do love this card. I love how it turned out. It's probably one of my favorite cards that I've made for the holiday season. Well, I hope that you're enjoying this Fun Fold series, and I hope that you'll come back next week and see what I create. And I hope that you all have a very Merry Christmas. If I don't talk to you before then, I'm not sure that I'll get any more videos out before Christmas, but I hope that you have a Merry Christmas. And if I do, be sure to subscribe and you'll see the notification if I do put out more videos before Christmas. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.